Welcome to the demonstration of TravelMan. TravelMan is an Irish-based travel agent system built by coders and Irish licensed travel agents. TravelMan is the name of the company, and you can have your company name here, and it will be licensed to your travel agency. There are two types of users, normal and administration. Simply type in the type of user that you are, normal or administrator, and insert the appropriate password and log in. Passwords are unique to the individual and are only known by them, totally secure. For the purpose of this demonstration, we'll be logging in as a normal user with the appropriate password. Normal users has decreased functionality as opposed to the administrator. So once you've logged in with your username and your password, simply hit login. Once we've logged in as a normal user, we are greeted with this dashboard screen. First of all, we have a search engine. So if a client rings up, we can take their name. So in this case, let's say Jane Daly rings up and we're looking for Daly. We see there's more than one Daly. We hit double space and the name Jane. In some circumstances, we may have more than one Jane Daly. So in this case, we would look for their telephone number. And if we type in 081 double space 4399, now we are able to get the exact client. Failing that, if somebody had a similar number, we could also search for them with client ID. So there are a number of ways that we can search for it. To the right of the search engine, we have whether the client is a private client. So in other words, is that they don't have credit with the company, or they're a leisure client, or a corporate client. And this would be typically a person or a company who would have credit with your agency. So you're able to run statements at the end of the month or the end of the quarter, depending on your credit terms that you would have with the client. Again, these have client IDs all the way down here. The dashboard is also populated with all the live bookings, so with all the clients that you would have in currently live or past bookings, depending on how long you want to keep them for. To the right of this, we have who you're logged in as. So a user is a normal user or an agent is normal. Underneath this, then you have some options, a new booking for an existing client, start a new booking that would be for a new client. Admin is grayed out, balances are grayed out, refresh is available to everybody, and quit is available to everybody. So if we wanted to start a new booking for an existing client, we go to Jane Daly, for instance, and we start a new booking by clicking this button. So an existing client form pops up, and we see that the ID for the client is here. Client, or you probably wouldn't remember this, but it's a good way of having to differentiate between two Jane Dailies as well. First name is Jane Daly, Miss, and we're just checking if everything remains the same, whether they've got married or whatever else, if there's any differences in the name, the address, the telephone number, and the email address. Here then we have GDPR compliance boxes. So if they agree to a promotion, i.e. a newsletter or whatever else, we click here and there's an option for yes or no. And then it's approval by what method it is. So ATOB would be at the time of booking, if that's by phone, or if it was an email, by messenger on Facebook, Instagram, any other method that you may that the person may have approved the GDPR or to receive the newsletters and the date that they did that on. So this is important because just in case you do get a query at any stage to who advise you that you could send me newsletters or contact me, you have the information here and complies with the GDPR. Of course, you may already have your own GDPR rules in place as well, but this is just a backup for that one. And then you would close that form by clicking, and we're brought back to the dashboard once again. So in this instance, we're going to start a new booking for a new client of ours. So we just click on this, and then we're presented with this screen for a new client. So I pre-populated this client in my own name just for ease of use. The system has already given us an ID number for Alan Lynch, and you fill in all the details as before, and email address, telephone number, and again the promotion, GDPR, the email, and the approval date. And after that, then you simply close the form. After choosing either an existing client or a new client, you'll be presented with a booking form like this. What I've done is that I have chosen Jane Daly, and I've pre-populated an invoice already for her. So this is the invoice that is being pre-populated. You'll see up at the top is got the information for the client, the booked date, the client's name, and the invoice number. This invoice number has been assigned by the system. You'll have the agent or the user, in this case is Celine, the source of the booking, which basically means where the booking or how the client heard from us. So if you were running a campaign on Facebook, you will be able to input that here, and there is a drop-down menu that you can choose from, and this can be populated by your own agency. The date that the client is traveling on, and over here, if you are marketing yourselves under more than one brand, for instance, if you're doing sports tours, you could have the brand name here, and then your normal travel agency, if it was just under a normal travel agent. This area here is populated with which you can categorize yourself. So you can have bags, one check-in bag, etc., that type of thing. Destination, these are all areas that will be appear on your administration area. So it will help you categorize the bookings that you have. So if you have a destination, so in other words, you want to be able to see how many bookings you give to a specific supplier, this would be entered here. And again, you populate this with the information that you have. So if you're giving bookings to Sunway, TUI, or Top Flight, or a specific hotel, you're able to see here at a glance how many bookings you've actually given to that supplier. And again, a categorization here. And remember that this system is a booking system and doesn't relate to any account system. So just to give you an idea of what you can categorize this as. The flight details are what you do in this instance. The flight details have been put in manually. And if you've, in some cases, you may have more than one flight segment. So you'll put in one against the first segment, and then you'd have the second flight segment here. The reason for this being is that if a client comes back and says, I want to add on another flight in between, is that you don't have to reorder these, that the system reorders it for you. So you'd put in 1, 2, and 3. And if number 2 then becomes 3, you just change the number here to 3, and it appears on the invoice as it should in date order. Again, below here is the information for the accommodation, hire and services. So in this case, Jane is taking a balcony cabin on the 5-star Regal Princess. And these are all populated again by your popular suppliers or bookings that you would have. So if this wanted to be changed to a golf break, you would populate it here, and the itinerary, the notes over here again is for you can populate it or you can free format the information that you want. Underneath this, then you'd have full board or half board, self catering, all inclusive, or if you wanted to get car hire, you can have that information here. But again, it's you can populate this information yourself in the administration area. the date that I travel out on, the date that I travel back, all of this information is relevant to the invoice. Below here then is for the administration people, and in this case the account section. So you would have the payments paid out to the supplier, how it was paid, the company that you paid, the reference number that's allocated to that particular payment, and the allocation ID that you'll be able to hear. The sum total then of all the payments that you would make out appear in this red box here. Over here, you have some more information relating to the actual package. So in this case, if you want to have a fly drive and the number of people that are traveling to at that particular price, you could then have a third person sharing, and that would have a different relevant price on that. And you can type that in here. This area here is for to help with margins on the booking, and you will put in a unit net price here. In this case, we put in 1,000. That would net up to 2,000, and you can see that the payments that we're expecting to pay out would be 2,000 as against the monies that we received in as 2,958. And this is related here to this box here, and you can see that the margin will change, your gross margin will change as you go along, so what you're expecting to meet on the booking. Now this is actually only for forecasting, but once the file is closed off, you will be able to see your exact margin on this. Here we can enter the names and the date of birth if necessary, and the in this particular instance, if you've got for example, a group booking and you don't want to put in all the names, you can put in the number 10 here, and that'll go against. So if it's 10 bookings against a particular hotel, that'll come up in your stats for that supplier. The insurance, whether they're taking insurance or not, or yes. And again, you can pre-populate this with the information that you need, the type of bag, and again, pre-populated by yourselves. From the point of view is that the bundles, if it's with Ryanair or Aer Lingus, British Airways, the type of bags that they're offering. Notes that would appear on the invoice can go in here. And again, if there's any particular promotion that's on, buy one, get one free, that type of thing, or whatever you are advertising. And the information here, again, special offer, but these are free format to whatever you want to put into it. This notepad here is for just staff only, so this doesn't appear on the invoice. Coming over here, then you have a receipt area. So if you were to receipt a 50 euro against Jane, in this case, which we have, you would be able to select that it's a credit card, or if it's by electronic transfer, is paid by cash, paid by a voucher, etc. That's what you would put in there, and that will come down on the drop down menu. 50 euro, as I say, in this case, we've allocated to Jane, and you put in your reference there. In this case, will be AL, and because it's credit card, we just put in the last 4 digits of the credit card, and the date will come up here. The system will allocate the date that it goes into. The amount that's paid, you can print a receipt here, and the total amount that's outstanding will appear here. The receipts will total here for 50. So if you had a receipt against George for another 50, 100 would appear here. And you can print off the receipt specific to that. They also appear on the invoice against each person what they have paid. So in this instance, we've printed the receipt, and we are presented with a message prompt saying this will create and save a file. Do you wish to continue? Yes or no? And in this instance, we want to say yes. A further pop-up window will appear, and the message this time is, do you wish to send an email? Yes or no? Please confirm that this email has been sent from your Outlook. So if we click yes, this will send a message from our Outlook, Microsoft Outlook, directly to the email on the client's profile. If we click no, it will save a file to the client's folder, or the invoice folder in this instance. But either way, they're always saved to the client's folder. We're just going to have a look at the receipt that was issued. In this case, it can be printed, or as all previously said, this can also be emailed at the same time. So if you've got the client with you, at the in the travel agency, you can print this off or simply send it by email. You can see here that it's given a unique receipt number paid by Jane Daly. And if that was paid by George Daly, they would say it there. Payment made on the date, the amount, and it was done by credit card. And the address of the lead person's name and the invoice number against 19250 in this case, and the booking date of the actual invoice. And the cashier is Celine in this instance. If you want to print an invoice, simply click the printer icon beside invoice, and this will generate an invoice which can be emailed, printed out, and posted or given to the client in the agency. So the other icons that are here are quite helpful. You can see that there is a document folder which relates to all the documents that are issued to this specific invoice. So if you, for instance, want to see the invoices or the receipts that were issued, you can just click on the icon here and it'll bring you up. I'll show you that now in 1 second. Alternatively, if you have passports that you need to put into the customer folder, you can also put them into this particular folder. Something that is more general to all invoices for that client. But if you had tickets specific to this booking, you just put them into this document folder. This folder here relates to the email log. So all logs, all emails that have been sent to the client, you'll be able to see them here. So I have clicked on the document folder and you can see that this is the receipt I've issued and this is the invoice that I've issued. Double click on any of these to see the invoice or to see the receipts, and these can be emailed once again if necessary or printed out. There you have a brief insight into the booking process of TravelMan. There's a lot more to the system, including an administrator role and the reporting section of TravelMan. Thank you for watching.